Do you want to stay more focused on the right goals in your life, or even just figure out what the right goals are for you? Do you want clarity? Do you want better work-life balance? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Success Through Failure.
Welcome to the Success Through Failure podcast, the show that reveals failure as your path to success. You'll listen to intriguing interviews with some of the most successful people on the planet and learn how their failures became a launchpad for success and how yours can too. Here's your host, former Division I All-American wrestler, former Division I head coach, speaker, and personal coach, Jim Harshaw.
Welcome to another episode of Success Through Failure. This is your host, Jim Harshaw, and today we're doing another solo episode. I love doing these. I hope you love doing them. I've been getting a lot of downloads actually on these ones. It seems like you guys like these, so I'm going to keep them coming, along with the awesome episodes like the ones I have coming up. Rourke, Denver should be next week. Should be able to get that one out. And I interviewed Rourke. He's a Navy SEAL, just incredible dude, like a guy that I just really connected with. Actually, he was a lacrosse player at Syracuse, an All-American lacrosse player. And he actually told me that Navy SEAL training was fun. Yes. And I've interviewed that guy, and he's pretty awesome. And then I've got another guy. I just talked to Jeff Eggers. Matter of fact, today as I record this, I had a conversation with Jeff Eggers. He's also a former Navy SEAL. He works with the Stanley McChrystal Group, the McChrystal Group, and incredible dude. They've got a new book coming out. He and Stanley McChrystal co-wrote the book, and man, Jeff is just an awesome dude, so I'm excited to interview him and get that one coming out. Anyway, got some great episodes coming out, and this one is tactical. This episode is not so much inspiring, but it's tactical, it's real, it's practical, it's a framework, a process, a system for not so much setting the goals. I've talked about that in other episodes, but I'm going to talk really concretely about how do you actually, after you went through and you set goals. So if you sit down today, tonight, tomorrow morning, you actually write down your goals, how do you actually make sure like a week from now and then 3 weeks from now and 2 months from now, 6 months from now, you're actually still following through on the goals? Because that's kind of the tricky part, right? You know how to set the goals, you know how to sit down maybe and write out your goals, but how do you actually make sure that you're actually doing them, you're following through and accomplishing what you want to accomplish with your goals, despite and amid the chaos of life? Because, if your life is anything like mine, it's crazy, man. I've got 4 kids, and so us for right now, it's like Allie is starting a new job, and so the logistics of getting 4 kids out the door to go to 3 different schools, and one of them, our youngest, we have to drive to school. So I'm driving 2 or 3 days a week. Allie's driving the other 2 or 3 days a week, and she's going to her job. I'm going to my office, and it's just, or I'm traveling and on the road. It's the logistics of life are crazy. So how do you actually make sure after you've done the work to set goals that you can actually follow through on all this stuff? Oh, by the way, we've got a puppy and a cat and a fish. The fish has been struggling a little bit lately, but I just wanted to tell you that the fish is doing okay. I don't even know what the name of this fish is. It's Isla's fish, my 5-year-old. So she named her prior fish was Christmas fish, because we got them on Christmas, so it was Christmas fish. Can't remember the name of this fish, so don't tell Isla I don't remember. Anyway, so we've got the chaos of even a fish in our life, changing his water, resuscitating a struggling beta fish. And anyway, but I digress. So life is chaos. Life is busy, right? And so how do you make sure that you're sticking to your goals? So I'm going to give you a framework, a process, a system to actually make sure that this stuff, that you can kind of come back to this and actually live it out in the real world, because that's the hard part. I even have guys that I coach, and men and women who I coach, who set the goals and then they kind of like get lost, and I have to coach them through this system, this framework that I'm going to give you right now, and walk them through this so that it actually is real. And some of them some folks I have calls with every week, sometimes every month. And we actually go through we go through every month for 1 hour, 6 o'clock in the morning. It's awesome because he likes to go early and I'm up early anyway. And I'm actually going to have him on the podcast at some point, so I'm not going to reveal quite his name just yet, but I'm going to have him on the podcast because he's writing a book, and it's going to be an amazing book, and we're doing a lot of work together right now, kind of helping him stay focused and getting this thing done. But anyway, we go through this, right? That's one of the things that helps him do it, but I'm going to give you a framework or a system on how to actually do it. This is going to be step by step, and I'm going to give you 8 key tactics for making this work. Actually, make that 9 key tactics. So here's where you start. All right. I start every year by doing the Reveal Your Path system. And if you want to go through that, you can go through that on your own, or you can wait for the next group to launch. But if you want, you're like, hey, I just want to do this thing. I'm ready to go. I want to set goals, and I actually want to figure out how to set meaningful goals. If you want to go through that Reveal Your Path process, you can do that on your own at any time. Just go to revealyourpath.com and select option 1. You'll see the clock is expired on that because we don't have a group launch going right now. But you can do this on your own. In the sort of self-study, home study version is just the option 1. And you can do that at any time on your own. When I say on your own, you're actually still going to have the Facebook group, and you're still going to call with me. But you can do that. You can go through it however you want to set goals. Obviously, the Reveal Your Path system is proven, but you can do it however you want. So start with setting your goals. Right? And the Reveal Your Path system, I have the goal setting template. It's a little bit different than the free one that you get if you just go to jimharshawjr.com/action. You can get access to a free goal setting template. But what you're going to want to do is set goals in the 4 areas of your life: relationships, self, health, and wealth. Okay, so relationships, that's self-explanatory. That's relationships with your family or with God or with your kids, etc. Self, that's maybe not so self-explanatory, but it's growth, impact, fun. So GIF, that's the way I remember it. Growth, impact, or fun. So growth means like learning a new skill or developing a new skill, right? Somewhere you want to grow. Might mean taking a course or something like that, right? Learning something new. Growth, impact is like philanthropy or volunteering, or fun is a third one, and that's like hobbies or things that you love to do. For me, that's like mountain biking and kayaking and camping and stuff like that, outdoor adventure stuff that I just don't do that much anymore, but that's like fun stuff. So I've actually set goals around this. So growth, impact, fun, that all falls under self. So relationships is 1, self is 2, health, that I think is pretty self-explanatory: health, fitness, mental health, etc. And then wealth. Wealth is career, professional goals, etc., financial goals. So those are the 4 areas: relationships, self, health, and wealth. And you should set at least 1, as many as 2 in each of those areas. Okay? So you can have between 4 and 8 goals. Now, if you want to do this your own way, that's fine. If you got just one goal you're trying to achieve right now, that's cool too. I caution you with the single-minded focus. The single-minded focus worked for me as an athlete, but that took me headlong into disaster just about in my life when I started using that philosophy in the real world, because it does not work, the single-minded focus, because single-minded focus, if you're married, doesn't work. Single-minded focus, if you're trying to maintain balance in your life, doesn't work. So you've got to have multiple goals in multiple areas in order to crush it in every area of your life, and you've got to follow through, have a system for following through. Okay, so now you set your goals, and you've got to so here's some keys and some tips on setting those goals. Make them measurable. Yes, of course, I know you've heard that before, but every time I work with somebody on setting goals, they come back with, I want to be a better husband. I want to get fit again. I want to start a business. It's like, wait a second. These aren't measurable, right? You got to make these measurable goals. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to make $100,000. I want to run a marathon by November 1st, right? I want to start a business and make my first $10,000. Except what you have to have concrete goals. Now, there are some areas where it's going to be hard to set concrete goals, like relationships. It's hard to say I want my relationship with my wife to be 25% better by Christmas. right? How do you do that? So you can make that a process goal. So for me, for example, it's 1 date night a month, 2 overnights per year. And I know that may sound like easy, but it's not easy when you got 4 kids. But that's my goal. That's our goal. That's my relationship goal, right? It's measurable. It's concrete. It's actionable. So how do you make those goals actionable? Now, the next step, and this is where, so here's the other thing. Don't make that goal something you can achieve like in a week, right? And that's great if you do. But it's like, okay, what do you do next week now, right? Now, so that should be part of a larger goal. It's like, if you set your goal to like join a gym, then it's like, or get marriage counseling. I don't know, whatever your goal might be. If you do that next week, it's like, okay, done. Well, no, that's part of a larger goal, right? That's a micro goal. These shorter term, smaller goals are micro goals. So your larger goal is going to be something in the next 6 months, 6 to 18 months. Okay. And then your micro goal is going to be, call a marriage counselor or join the gym or whatever it might be, right? Whatever it might be for you. And now you break these into, here's the key. Here's the key that I think, that I know most people miss. And this is the real crux. This is where I'm going to give you 9 ways to actually follow through on your goals in the real world. So here's the 9 ways I'm going to give you. Now, these are all part of micro goals. Okay, so you have your larger overriding goal. Your micro goals, you're going to set these monthly or quarterly, right? There's some guy out there has it's called the 90-day year. There's the 3-month year. There's different people, right? They're talking about like quarterly goals, essentially, right? So these are, I call them micro goals. They could be quarterly, they could be monthly. You're taking your larger goal and you're going to break it down into monthly, bite-size, actionable steps. Things you can do, things you can see in the next 30 to 90 days, right? Because you look at this goal, you set it for 6 months, a year and a half out, maybe even further. And it's like, that's so far out there. You can't see that far down the road. But you can see 30 days down the road. You can see 90 days down the road. So one of the keys is following up and checking your goals every month. So you take these micro goals. So the micro goal, so if the goal is to lose 20 pounds, your micro goal might be to join a gym, right? And your micro goal might be like your monthly goal for this month, for September of 2018 when I'm publishing this. Your micro goal could be, if your overall goal is to lose 20 pounds within the next 12 months, your micro goal, for example, would be visit 3 gyms in September and check them out, right? Take a free tour, take a tour of 3 gyms. And then you do that, you achieve that, and then in October your goal is pick a gym and go at least once a week. And then in November it's going to be lose my first 3 pounds. And then in December it might be the same one. So you might get to a point where it's lose another 3 pounds. It might be sign up for a class or try a different class or try a group exercise or find a friend to come. You can see how these micro goals add up to accomplishing your goal at the end. So, when my goal is to be an All-American, I wish I'd have known this back when I was wrestling. My goal is I shouldn't say an All-American. My goal is to win the national championship. I did kind of had these shorter goals, like I didn't really think of it in this framework that I'm giving you right now. Gosh, I wish I had. My life would have been a lot easier. I think it would have been a lot more clear. But I did have some sense of this because I would break it down into working on specific techniques or working on specific physical strength. Getting a stronger back or stronger legs, or getting in better cardio condition, or getting better off bottom, or developing a certain skill. And I actually had ways that I was doing this. Now that I look back on it, and actually, so I was like, I'll give you an example. I would review film with my coach. I'd actually drive to my coach's house at like 7 o'clock at night, knock on the door and say, I'd had a VHS back in the VHS days. I'd have the VHS tape in my hand. I'm like, hey, coach, can we watch film? And he's like sitting there with his girlfriend hanging out, watching TV. I'm like, and then we're like watching film, breaking down film and doing moves in the middle of the living room. But it was, so I'd walk away from there. And I would have notes, right? I'd scribble down notes, and I would keep these notes in my wrestling shoes. So every day I'd go to practice, I'd pull my notes out of my shoes. I had to look at them, put them in my tennis shoes. I'd put on my wrestling shoes, go to practice. And then after practice, when I, shower, get changed, put on my tennis shoes, I'd have to pull those notes out. I'd have to review them again, go, oh, did I work on this? Did I do this at practice? And I would literally cross things out if I was done or I felt like I'd accomplished those, or I would just write new notes. And I kind of had this system of making sure I was following up on the micro goals. So here we go. I'm going to help you break these down. So the ways to actually attack these micro goals, make them stick. 9 ways. Number 1, once you write down your micro goals for the month, put it on your to-do list. So in the example I gave you, it's sign up for it's check out 3 gyms. First thing might be look up the phone numbers for 3 gyms. Right, that might be the thing you put on your to-do list. Here, I'll give you an example of what I'm doing in my life right now. One of my goals is around my kids. Is just relationships with my kids, and being the best father that I can be. And it's my goal is actually to identify something every month that I can do to be a better father. And that's a concrete, measurable thing. Did I do something? Am I accomplishing that one thing a month? And this month, actually in August, and I didn't finish the goal, but it was to download the audio book of Boys Adrift and start listening to it. Actually, to complete it. So I probably won't have completed it by the end of August, but I'm still going to set myself a new goal. That'll be part of my micro goal for September. And you're going to listen to this in September, or later. But anyway, that's kind of how I broke it down. So it's download a book and listen to it about raising boys. I got 2 boys, I got 2 girls. So I'm listening to Boys Adrift. There's an accompanying book called Girls on the Edge. And so I'm probably going to listen to that one next. But anyway, that's how I took that micro goal. And number 1, first way of 9 to follow through on your goals, put it on your to-do list. Number 2, set alarms. Okay. So one of my goals in terms of being the best father that I can be and being the best husband that I can be is actually, this kind of falls more generally under my goal of being the best husband I can be, which is 1 date night a month minimum and 2 overnights per year. I've actually identified this thing that I want to do right now is doing something nice for Allie at least 5 times a week. And so here's the action item for you. Here's number 2. Set alarms. Set an alarm. So I have an alarm that goes off on my phone every morning to remind me to do something nice. Send a nice text, leave a message, gift card to Starbucks, whatever it is, just to remind Allie that I'm thinking about her, that I love her, and that she's the most important person in my life. And so number 2 is set alarms. Use your phone. Use technology to help you. You can set reminders. If you have an iPhone, there's like a location app, or a location with the reminders. So every time you pull into a certain parking lot, it reminds you of something. If you want to do something that's based on every time you go to a certain location or something like that, right? So use this technology. It's so awesome. All right, number 3, write your goals down regularly. I actually do this multiple 2, 3, 4 times a week, depending on the week, but I write my goals down. I have 7 goals right now, and I have a notebook, and I keep it on my desk, and I literally, in shorthand, it's about a sentence each one, but I write out my goals. Actually, the micro goal version of my macro goal, of my overall bigger goals. And I write it down. And when I write it down, it's funny, because every time I write it down, I inevitably find something that I have to put on my to-do list, or I end up picking up my phone and sending somebody a text, or doing like if I'm writing down my goal of like planning my next date night, then I go, oh man, when am I going to do this? And I text Allie, I'm like, hey, you want to go on a date night this weekend, or let's line somebody else up so we can, babysitter so we can go on a date. But when I write them down, it reminds me, it makes these things real in my life. Just like putting them on your to-do list would, just like setting alarms would. Writing down your goals regularly makes these things concrete and real in your life. Okay, number 4, join a mastermind group or start one of your own. If you want to learn how to start a mastermind group, go to jimharshawjr.com/action, punch in your email address, and you'll get access to a book. It's how to start a mastermind group of your own in 30 days or less, quickly and easily. It's an ebook. Or, not or, but, what I do, I have, for the Pathfinders, and the Pathfinders are people who have graduated from Reveal Your Path. They get access to the Reveal Your Path Pro guided. It's a mastermind. We have an ongoing monthly mastermind. So, and when you join a mastermind, when you're with a group of people, like Isaac Greeley is one of them. He was in episode 156. Isaac is one of my clients. He's in the Reveal Your Path Pro. Interviewed him in episode 156 because he's awesome. And, he's been part of it for a long time. This dude achieves things that just people are like, how do you get all this done? He has a mastermind group. He has people who hold him accountable. He's part of a team. He's part of people who are invested in him, and he's invested in them, just like when he was competing as an athlete, right? Actually, he's still competing as an athlete, which is kind of crazy because he's 42 years old like I am. But anyway, join a mastermind group. That's number 4. Number 5. I'm going to put it this way. I'm going to put number 5 this way. There was a man named Milt Campbell. Milt Campbell was an Olympian while he was in high school. Milt Campbell, 4 years later, he was an Olympian as he was a decathlete in the Olympics for the United States. Qualified for the Olympics as a high schooler. 4 years later, qualified for the Olympics again, won the Olympic gold medal. First African-American ever to win the Olympic gold medal in the decathlon. Milt Campbell went on to play college football at Indiana, went on to play in the NFL. He was in the same backfield as James Brown. He went on to, after his NFL career, became a black belt in judo, was an Olympic level athlete in judo. Probably, he probably could have qualified for the Olympics, but in those days there was certainly more discrimination. They said you couldn't qualify for the Olympics after you've been a professional athlete, but he probably could have qualified for the Olympics in judo. But if Milt Campbell was on this, podcast right now, I would say, how do you set goals? And he would ask you, he would say, how many people have goals? He actually was a motivational speaker. He died, I think, in 2012. He used to ask people, how many people set goals? He'd speak, he'd be public speaking. Everybody raise their hand. He'd say, or at least most people, he'd say, okay, how many of you have your goals written down? Most of the hands would go down. Then he would say, how many of you have your goals, have them written down, and have them on your person? All the hands would go down. Milt Campbell, everybody talked about his talent. Oh, he's talented athlete. Sure he was. That talent's a dime a dozen. There's plenty of talented athletes out there. Milt Campbell wrote down his goals. He wrote down, I want to be an Olympian. He wrote down, I'm going to be an Olympic gold medalist. He wrote down, I'm going to play college football. He wrote down, I'm going to play in the NFL. He wrote down, I'm going to be an Olympian in judo. Didn't get there. Obviously, black belt. I talked to you about his story there. But talented, yes. So are you. So am I. So is everybody else, right? There's a ton of talented people in this world. Milt Campbell wrote down his goals. He kept them on his person. For anybody who's gone through Reveal Your Path, I mail you the goals cards. So you can, on the back of my business card, there's 4 spots to write down your goals. Okay? Make your own business card, flip it up, grab a business card of your own, write on the back, write your goals, keep it in your wallet. Okay? That is number 5. Make sure you have your goals written down, physically written down with a pen on paper. Keep them in your wallet so you see them every day. Number 6. I call this a Kmar video because Jared Kmar, who I had on the podcast, episode number 125. Again, Jared's another guy who's been a long-time Reveal Your Path fan and client and Pathfinder. But Jared brought this to my attention. It's really cool, and I've done this, and it's something I really highly suggest for people who want to set and achieve meaningful goals and actually follow through on them. But he talked about, he learned this somewhere, but creating a video like with iMovie on your phone. So download the pictures that you want off the internet or just pictures of yourself and your family, all these pictures and images that represent your goals, put it to music, add text, and watch it. It's this real world visualization of your goals, seeing them come to fruition. And when you play this video and you watch it, you actually feel these things for real in the real world. It's like you're seeing your goals happen in front of you. So creating a Kmar video, Kahmar. That's Jared Kmar's last name. But I call it a Kmar video because he brought that to my attention. And I know a lot of guys and men and women, I should say. Mostly I work with a lot of men, but not exclusively, that's for sure. I've done that and they love it. So that's number 6. Number 7, it's along the same lines as the Kmar video, but it's this. Write out your ideal day, record it, and listen to it. Write out what your ideal day looks like. Open your phone, take your phone out, hit the record button on the voice memo, record yourself reading it, and then listen to that. Once a week, listen to it. When you do that, your goals are again going to be front and center. They're going to become part of your life. They're not just going to be some document that's saved on your computer somewhere or stuck up on a shelf collecting dust. They're going to be real. So, I listen. I know this stuff sounds a little silly. You might feel silly reading this and listening to this. I know, but guess what? I love bringing up this example. But Kyle Dake, 4-time NCAA wrestling champion at 4 different weight classes, a new weight class every year, bumped up a weight class every single year. Nobody ever in the history of wrestling has done that. And he made history. Guess what he did? Every morning, he wrote down his goal. Every evening, he wrote down his goal before bed. Did it once in the morning, once in the evening his freshman year in college. He won the national championship against the odds. Second year, sophomore year, twice in the morning, twice at night. Won the championship again. Third year, sophomore year, junior year, he wrote down 3 times in the morning, 3 times at night. Guess what? 4 years in a row, he did this. Kind of weird, right? Maybe a little crazy. But guess what? People who make history do these kinds of things. All right, so that is number 7. Number 8. Remember, I got 9 of these coming at you, so 2 more. Number 8, get an accountability partner. Get somebody who you can check in with regularly. For me, it's guys like Travis Macy. For me, it's guys like Charlie Brenneman. Travis Macy, Charlie Brenneman. These are guys that I've had. I've had them both on the podcast, as a matter of fact. So I'm lucky to have these kind of people in my life. But Travis Macy, episode 52, and Charlie Brenneman, he was way back actually Charlie interviewed me, turned the tide and interviewed me in episode 10, but I interviewed Charlie in episode 4. Holy cow. You want to go back and hear me when I was an amateur? Holy mackerel. Episode 4. I don't even think I had a decent mic back then, but you can check that out. But anyway, Charlie Brenneman, Charlie the Spaniard. These are guys that I check in with regularly, have accountability calls with. And so getting those people in your life, finding those people who have a similar mindset as you, and check in with them on a regular basis. Here's the last one. Get a coach. Get a coach. Go figure, right? Are you willing to invest? Are you willing to pay somebody that will be fully invested in you? Now, most people aren't. I get it, especially a lot of guys like me, wrestler, individual. I don't need a coach. Nobody needs to tell me what to do. I don't need help. Well, guess what? Bill Gates, Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt's he's the chair of Google. Alphabet, actually, is the parent company of Google. Former CEO of Google. These guys have coaches. They said they feel everybody needs a coach. Oprah Winfrey. On and on. I mean, you look at elite performers, they have coaches. If you're ever an athlete, you had a coach. They held you accountable. They helped you get the most out of yourself. High-performing people have coaches. That's typically the type of person that I'm coaching. They're either a high performer or they want to become a high performer. So get a coach. I'm not saying you have to come talk to me. I'd love to coach you if you're the right fit. But find somebody. Invest in yourself. So those are the 9 ways to actually make your goals work, to make this stuff stick. Now, every year I told you I do a yearly reveal your path. I do it. I go through the whole process myself. Again, if you want to do that, you can do it at any time. It's $247 flat rate. You get a call with me. You get all the materials. You get the videos. You get the worksheets. You get everything. You get the daily emails. You get access to the private Facebook group that has Olympians and elite athletes and millionaires and surgeons and educators and doctors and attorneys and entrepreneurs and consultants and all kinds of people from all different walks of life. Awesome, amazing people. You get access to that. But I do this every year for myself. And then you need to make sure you're doing a monthly review of your goals. So if this was helpful for you, share this with somebody. Share it with one other person. Send them a text. Tell them, hey, listen to episode 162. I think it's 162. I'm recording this in advance, but I'm pretty sure it's at 162. Tell them to check out the episode. Go to jimharshawjr.com/share. And you can share it on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. It's an easy one-click button for you. You can share this. You can offer a rating and review on iTunes, which is also super helpful. If you got value, I ask you to just do something like that. Share it with somebody else. That's how this thing grows. As a matter of fact, August was my best month yet. So thank you for those of you who are sharing this. I really, really appreciate that. Until next time, take the time to get clear on your goals and embrace failure as a stepping stone on your path to success.